the Lounge. I'm your host, Felicia Harding Williams. And again today, I'm here with Miss Deborah. How you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. Today's episode is the episode before the last. We have a special guest today called Mr. Wendell Moss, writer of Big Time. He's going to be joining us later on. As a matter of fact, Mr. Wendell Moss and Miss Deborah is going to take on the remainder of the show. Today, I'm going to start off the show with talking about bipolar, which was what this whole started out. For the last 6 weeks, we've been taking a journey on what this illness can do and what it's like from a personal aspect, how it affects me personally. We've had quite a few call-ins to them give their version of how the disease affects them. Today, for the first time, I'm actually had 3 cycles and one right behind the other, which is the first time I've ever had that to happen. And this cycle I'm dealing with now is fighting off the depression. When bipolar, you go through different cycles. It takes a while for you to learn when each one of your cycles start. I was blessed and fortunately to learn mine, and I've learned that my depression cycle starts during the months of September, October, November, and subsides over and once I go into December. This cycle, I'm getting stronger at it because I was able to make it through September into October before it started. I'm taking its toll on me. When you're going through the depression cycle of bipolar, the best thing I can recommend you to do is still keep pushing forward, because with this part of the disease, it have a tendency to make you want to shut down, isolate yourself. And thus, when most people go through the cycle of not wanting to get out of bed, or actually can't get out of bed, or can't deal with people and on an everyday level, they cry for no reason, things is always moping, irritated and stuff. And that's just the beginning of a cycle. It took me a total of 6 years to learn when each one of my cycles start. Like I said, this is the first time ever that I've had each one of my cycles to come back to back to back. And I think maybe it's because I chose to talk about it. So maybe God is allowing you to see the different levels and how it affects each of us differently. Like I said, with me, I'm fighting off the depression, and I learned that works for me. Because if you give into it, then you stop living. It's basically because, like I said, you isolate yourself. You confine yourselves to your homes or to your bedrooms. You don't want to deal with people or anything like that. So again, when you start going through your depression state, the best thing to do is to keep pushing forward. You can talk yourself out of it. If you see a psychiatrist, call your psychiatrist and let them know what you're going. A lot of my friends who are bipolar, they use the buddy system, and which when they start going through that depressed cycle, they talk about it with other people who have the disease. If you don't have a buddy system, then you can go on your internet. There's a lot of blog talk shows out there. My girlfriend, who was actually supposed to be my first guest when this series started, Miss Christine Anderson, you can Facebook her. She has a great blog talk show and support system going on for the Richmond and tri-state area. Like I said, her name is Christine Anderson, and you can look her up on Facebook and tap into her bipolar, support group. Yes. And she can recommend you to a lot of different areas with places in your area that can help you. Like I said, I'm not going to be doing the whole broadcast today because, fighting off with the depression, it's hard. You have to stay focused and you have to stay one step ahead of the game, as they say. But like I said, I've enjoyed having my time here. I may be back at the end of this show. Who knows? Like I said, it's a struggle, and I had to push to come here because I can't let it defeat me. I have to be able to control it.
That's right.
Even on medication, this part of the illness is hard. It's extremely hard. and it's never gonna be easy. Living with bipolar is an illness that goes a lot of ups and downs, sideways, mood swings, sometimes violent tantrums. We go through a lot. And for the people around us that don't know, it's hard on them. So again, I would like to applaud the loved ones who stick by their people that is dealing with this disease. And I thank you for even tuning in to try to get education about the disease so you can help your loved one. Again, this disease affects each of us differently. It's never, one person is not going to have the same effect that I'm having. Because I'm able to push through and still do a part of the show, if not all of the show, the next person might not have that energy. Yes. Like I said again, on medication, getting therapy, there's no guarantees with this. All you have to do is pray and, and just give it your best effort. Like I said, right now, we're going to talk to Miss Deborah and see how she's been doing for this week.
Okay, I'm doing great, TV audience. I, too, have had my bouts of ups and downs.
Yes.
But as you say, even without bipolar, we still have to be strong and forge through it all. And what carries me is prayer.
Yes.
And staying in the Word. And being around those people like you and my pastors, Martin and Teresa Owens of the New Life Faith Center, and my family, iron sharpen iron.
Yes.
And they help keep me grounded. And most importantly, I just give thanks to God for waking me up and giving me that sound mind and love for people as I go through my day. So no, I can't relate to what you just said personally. However, I have done counseling with other people, other clients who have experienced it, and it appears to me, looking in from the outside and diagnosing using the DSM, back then it was 4 revised, it was like almost like a roller coaster ride.
It is. Yes. It is definitely like a roller coaster ride because you never know.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, it's been a 6-year process for me to learn my triggers, learn my cycles. It's nothing that you're going to wake up with the next day and say, okay, this is a cycle. Because it's hard to determine whether you're having a cycle or you're just angry. You know what I'm saying? Because the line is so thin.
Okay.
Like I said, I kept a calendar. Good. I kept a calendar, and I suggest to other people with bipolar, if you're trying to learn your triggers and you're trying to learn your cycles, get you a calendar or get you a book, and you can you'll see, okay, I'm having a bad day. You'll be able to tell whether it's a bad day or episode because you're like, wow. You'll sit back and you'll go over what you write. Just one moment. Thank you for calling the lounge. Felicia, may I help you?
How you doing, Felicia?
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm your biggest fan, That make you crazy.
I didn't hear from you last week. What happened?
Right.
I know because the show wasn't on air. And I turned it on and I was like, where's Felicia?
We was here.
Oh, yes.
Well, I didn't see it last weekend, but I'm here this weekend.
All
and
right.
You just keep smiling. You're the most beautiful girl I've seen in a while.
Thank you so
much.
And,
I always try to catch you when you're on here. But you got good spirits and you seem like a very nice person.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just wanted to say hi and let you go back to doing what you're doing.
You keep in touch, okay?
All right, Felicia. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See, callers like that and people like Ms. Deborah, that actually helps you when you can, when somebody can actually give you a positive word and a word, it helps you when you're going through the depression state, because it does. I mean, and the more positive, because when you're in this state, you're very negative.
Okay.
You dwell on the negative. I don't
Okay.
care how positive everything around you may seem.
Yes.
It can be just one little thing that's negative, and that one little thing is going to determine your whole mood for the rest of the day.
Wow.
And it's overcoming that negativity.
Yes.
That's the hardest part.
Wow.
I mean, but again, I'm not going to be here too much longer on the stage, because I do want Mr. Wendell Moss to come out and talk about his new book, Big Time. Now, I've read this book. It is a great book. He also does hair shows and fashion shows.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
Mr. Moss has actually been one of the, I could honestly say, the main person who's actually helped me get to where I am today. When I first wrote my first book in 2011,
Yes.
I didn't know what to do, where to go, and someone had introduced me to him, and he just helped me step by step by step.
Great.
And so from 2011 to 2014,
Yes.
I could just pick up my phone and be like, okay, I'm dealing with this, or where do I take this, and how do I do this? And he's like, okay, I got you.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
That's wonderful.
he helped me extend to even going to Georgia, meeting people over the phone.
Yes.
That had me go to Georgia to meet other authors and stuff.
Wow.
And you don't find people these days that will stick by you,
No, you don't.
and work with you and
don't.
help you grow.
That's right. You're exactly
You don't
right.
find people like
That's
that
right.
at all.
That's right.
And I thank God that, he brought him into my life and helped me to get where I am.
Yes.
He
Yes.
opened up a lot of doors,
Right.
introduced me to a lot of people.
Yes.
So, like I said, I thank God for him every day. I wish everybody can find a
I
Mr.
know,
Wendell.
I will, Mr. Wendell. And Wendell has a great aura. He has
Yes.
a great spirit
Very
about him.
Willing to help anybody.
I just am so grateful to be around younger people who are about positive things in their life. And so, a lot of people who are older tend to think of the younger generation as not being positive, not being focused and doing
Right.
positive things. And that's just not true. You can't rely on what you see on the media, in the media only, And of course, the media has to sell, so it wants to sensationalize everything. And
Yep.
so therefore it's going to point out the negative. It's going to highlight the negatives. However, there are a lot of young people, men
Yes.
and women, who are doing great things,
Yes,
things in their
and
life.
he is.
And he's one of those.
And the one thing about it, he gives back.
Yes.
Because you got
So
a lot.
important,
You
so
got a lot of
important,
people
yes.
that go through this cycle, and it's all about me, 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 me. What can you do for me?
Yes.
And he doesn't have that spirit at all.
Wow.
I mean, because he reaches out to everybody to
Yes.
envy you. All, like I said, all you gotta do is pick up the phone.
Yes.
And if he can
Yes.
help you, he's gonna help you,
All
or he's
right.
gonna steer you in the direction to get
direction,
you with
yes.
what you need. So, without saying anymore, we're gonna take a 2-minute break, play the little video back again, and we're gonna have Mr. Wendell Moss and Miss Deborah here to take over the remainder of the show. I enjoyed you. Stay tuned next week, because next week is my last show, and we're going to talk more about my new book called Life After the Pain, How Bipolar Can Affect Your Relationship. The book is about how my illness and living in denial affect my marriage, and living the life of a preacher's wife. So again, I thank you so very much for tuning in, and we'll be back in a few minutes with Mr. Wendell Ross and Miss Deborah. You have a blessed day.
No one has ever loved Hello, how y'all doing? I'm Wendell Moss, and this is my first novel entitled Big Time. It is an urban fiction that talks about the crime that has plagued the inner city and the Tri-City area. Okay. And it actually talks about one particular dude that monopolizes the area and actually talks about how drugs is played and how the criminal justice system has been manipulated by certain individuals with power. And this book actually is a page turner. You know, it actually puts you on the streets of Petersburg, Virginia, and Richmond, Virginia. Okay. It puts you right into the most dangerous projects: Pecan Acres, Creighton Court, Jacksonwood, Croton, or Pin Oaks. Yeah, and you know, it's a page turner. Paints a nice picture how genocide also takes place in the community. Okay, how individual, monopolize and actually poison the community, but not consciously know exactly what they're doing. Yes. Yeah, so this is my book, and the sequel of this book is entitled Female Bricklayers. That'll be out in another month or so. Okay. So, great. We look forward for that coming.
Is it fiction?
Yes, it's urban fiction.
Okay,
it's urban fiction.
It is fiction, okay.
It's urban fiction.
Right. But it's based on true stories.
It's based on some of my trials and tribulations. Okay. Because I've been incarcerated for 10 and a half years for street pharmaceuticals. And so some of the things I've been through, I just put it down in pen and paper and just, just use my imagination. Right. So it really is a figmentation of my imagination. Just stretch the truth a little bit and just add a little flavor, sprinkle a little flavor with it, and just go with it, All
right, great. I'm a reader and a writer. I write poetry and I write plays. I consider amateur and performed in the church. I've written Christmas plays, all taken out of the Bible, and most recently I've done a Black History play, and I always knew that I would write. I'm not published. I'm not published. I have some things that I would like to publish, and from listening to Miss Felicia earlier in the show, you're the person I need to know.
Well, it's I can put you in the right direction.
Yes, and that's what it's all about.
All about helping one another.
Yes, it is. So yes, it is.
Any way I can be, a helpful hand and just pull you up and point you in the right direction is simple process.
Wow. Yes,
simple process. There's no sense of you having that hidden talent and not let the public know what you actually have. Because the talent you was blessed with that talent for a particular reason.
Yes.
So you have not had the opportunity to put any of those plays into action?
No, it's not. They're not copywritten, but we have performed them. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we have performed them all in church. Okay. Everything has been done in church. My poetry has been written for weddings, for funerals, and birthdays, and it's all God inspired. Okay. Yeah. I can't do it unless the Holy Ghost leads me.
Got to be that way.
Yes. But I just want to say I can relate to live life in the projects. I'm a product of Gilpin Court, the first 10 years of my life, and so I know what it's like to live in close quarters. However, both of my parents were there, and I honestly did not know that we were low income until I went to Virginia Union and studied sociology. Because we have a way of, no matter where we are, we as a culture, that family makes us believe and feel like we're no different than the norm.
That's true.
So looking back on it, I did not know that I was any different.
That's that good old black love.
That's it. That's it. Yes. So I'm very interested in your book. I would love to purchase a copy tonight and follow up with you and let you know. I've read several of Miss Felicia's books, and they were all page turners. And the only thing with me, because I am during this fellowship of an internship now with African American HIV University out in LA, I know this about myself: when I get a good page turner, I can't put it down and so I don't always be on top of my assignments. So if it's that much of a page turner, and I do have an assignment that's due Friday the 17th, then I won't start reading it until after I complete my assignment. Okay? I'm just not that disciplined when it comes to reading good material. So the only thing that I can read on a daily basis is the Word. I can do that. And because that is so inspiring.
That's the foundation.
Yes. It gives me food for thought.
That's right.
And something to go on and to grow on throughout the day.
That's right.
You know?
That's that motivation.
Yes, it is.
That's
yes,
that fire
it is.
that
Yes.
fuses. You got to have that fire that fuses.
Yes, and we have to.
Because your car don't run without gas.
No, you got that right. And I know
and the body is just like a car, so you don't need that proper fuel to actually make us move out.
Yes, we do. Wow. Readers, our viewers, excuse me, get your pen and paper and jot down some questions you might have for this notorious author. And
no, we got to that point to be notorious. Once I'm 5 or 6 books in, you can say notorious.
I feel it, though. I feel it exuding out of your pores. I really do. Okay. This is a very powerful and strong man that I'm sitting next to. And I'm very keen on inner spirits, and I get a very strong spiritual feeling about you. Now, when we met, we didn't get a chance to really go into detail other than you told me about your book, and then you went on air at the other studio we were in, and then I had to leave, so we didn't get a chance to really talk. But I left with this feeling that I have now, not knowing what it was all about, but I knew you were somebody. Yes, I did. So I am. I look forward to reading it. I encourage, hold it up again, everyone who's viewing to get in touch with Mr. Wendell. The information will be at the end of the show so that you can read it, even order quite a few of them, so that if you're around people like myself who love to read and then discuss what you read, you can form a group. Doesn't have to be anything formal. Doesn't have to be anyone who know anything about anything. It can be everyday, normal people like myself who loves to read and then wants to talk about it with someone. You know, like you do the movies that come out in the theater, and have you seen that yet? And and I like that part when such and such. Well, it's the same way with books, you know. And my husband and I are both readers, but on totally different realms of reading. He likes the fictional suspense type detective murders, and I'm like, I don't need to know all of that, you know. Patricia
Cornwell, Walter Moses.
Yes. And it's another one that's not coming to mind.
James Patterson.
That's it. How did you know that? Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah. But what we do have a very strong common ground is the Word. And even if we are not reading it together, he'll come back and say, well, I read scripture such and such, or I read this book.
That's the common denominator.
Yes, it is. And that's exactly what it is.
That's the common denominator.
And so, viewers, you can do the same thing. I'm teaching and modeling for my granddaughter, who's 12, who thinks if she doesn't have her cell phone or if she's not on the internet, then life is boring. Well, guess what? We didn't even have that growing up. So right now, she does not have access to those things. And so I know she thought that she was just going to perish from this earth. But what she is doing now is focusing on books.
So you have her social media fasting.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. Yes, we are. Yes, her parents agree, and because they're both hard workers, and she spends a lot of time with us. We talk to her, and we did something the other evening that we had not done in a long time, and that was simply sitting on our bed, all of us. And then before I began, I think I had to leave out for something, and I said, let us pray. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did. We just all held hands, sat on the bed, and began to pray. Mm-hmm. Because of social media, and I take nothing from it, because it has its very, very positive points. But because of it, anything that you overdo, it will have a negative effect. Mm-hmm. And I use my granddaughter because she's mine. That had become the case with her. Mm-hmm. And then my mother, and she's supposed to be watching, hey, Ma, gives her, and I truly believe she gives her the way she does is because now that she's 84, she has the means. For us, she didn't because she was busy working and everything. So now, whatever her great-granddaughter, my granddaughter, mm-hmm. asks for, she makes sure she has it. Okay. Her telephone is far more technologically savvy than mine is, you know. But be careful, parents, with what you allow your children to be exposed to in that regard, and really monitor what they are doing on those phones and the computers, because it can take them into realms, into avenues where you don't want them to go. And so that it happened with my granddaughter. And so once we became aware, we just shut it down. And we see a big difference in her going to church, Bible study, homework, the whole nine, mm-hmm. the whole nine. And of course, she's going to get it back, but it's going to be in moderation. Okay. You know, almost like a diet.
Mm-hmm. In a timely fashion.
Yes. In
a timely fashion.
Yes. And she really has to earn it. Mm-hmm. She really has to earn it. But getting back to your book, it's something that we can all do. Families, you can get with your children, and it sounds like something that especially our young men would enjoy reading. When we have a call coming in.
Mm-hmm. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, Wendell.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. My name is Lala, and I'm calling from Richmond, Virginia. I'm like your biggest fan. I love all your fashion shows. I read your book from cover to cover, and I absolutely loved it. And I just want to tell you, keep up the good work and be blessed.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Wow, that is wonderful.
All right, good night.
Good night. Thank you for calling, Lala. Wow.
Yeah, what she's talking about is RVA's annual fashion show that I do yearly.
Okay.
And that is a Beauty and Barber Awards / fashion show.
Okay.
And in that particular event, we have 4 different categories. Okay. We have best barbershop, best beauty salon, best unisex shop, and best natural hair shop. Oh. And the voting is determined by the votes. Each shop has the voting link, and they have an opportunity to give it to their customers, family, friends, or whomever, and they go online and vote. And so once the voting link is cut off and the votes are tallied, that's determined the winner. So it's really not my personal opinion or her personal opinion.
Yes,
it's the public.
Great.
And in that fashion show, we highlight independent designers, and we have people that has been in the haircare field for X amount of years. We give them icon awards.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
And that's an annual event that we do, and this year will be June 7th.
Okay.
At the 4 Point Sheridan on 4700 Laburnum Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a cousin who has recently gotten her cosmetology license, and I'm not sure that she's aware of that. And she's very creative. That can be something that she could certainly benefit from, just being having the experience of it all.
It's good for networking for small up and coming stylists.
Yes.
If you're a stylist, barber, beautician, nail tech, or shampoo tech, it's good for networking and also for a person to actually, if they want to put their talent in the show.
Yes.
Good for marketing and promotion.
Yes.
Because each show it's aired on Comcast. So you have an opportunity, to let the whole Tri-City see what you got, see what type of talent or what type of work that you actually put out on a daily basis.
Wow, indeed so. Great. That is so good.
So you are an advocate for HIV.
Yes, I am. I have a nonprofit organization called Perspectives, S.O.W, in parentheses, S.O.W, and company, and it is incorporated by the State Corporation Commission here in Virginia. And it's new. We're only a year old. I've been working with that population of people for over 12 years, and mainly the indigent population, people who does not have insurance, some of them homeless, some have been ostracized from families because of the stigma that comes with that. There are still a lot of people who believe that if you're positive for HIV or AIDS,
that's a death sentence.
Yes, and that they can't drink after you, they can't hug you, certainly can't kiss you, and that's certainly not true. I've had the blessing and opportunity to travel out to Los Angeles, California, and stay on the campus of UCLA this past August to September, and the African American HIV University Science Treatment College. That's a mouthful, but they broke it down and just call it AHU. And what they do is it's a fellowship, year-long fellowship. And that first month that I was gone, from mid-August until September 13th, they called it boot camp. And for me, that's exactly what it was too. Listen, we had to walk from the dorm to the nearest lecture hall was 2.2 miles. And UCLA sits on a hill, so I was either going up a hill or up steps or down a hill. And I did. I lost some weight doing all that. But I was determined, because it's such an opportunity that I didn't have to pay for anything. And so with the other people who came from other parts of the country, Mississippi, 2 from Mississippi, 2 from Chicago, 1 from New York, and 1 from Oakland, California, and then there were 2 other people from right there from Los Angeles area. We are taught, because it's continuing, and while I'm here, this is the internship, but we're taught by the original medical doctors, scientists, and researchers who have been working with HIV and AIDS since the onset, when it first became known to the public back in 1981. So we learned a lot of medical statistical research information, and we were tested on it. And so I could rattle off a lot of information to you, but I know you wouldn't recall it because it's so much and it's such little time. I really just want to show this to you, if you can see it.
Excuse me.
This is, of course.
So what is the red?
These are the indications of where the red is, where HIV and AIDS is condensed. As you can see, the darker I'm colorblind, so it looks like dark blood red,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. That those are the areas that it is really, really condensed.
So Florida is really,
Florida
really.
is here in California, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Richmond, Virginia is the highest in Virginia.
Oh wow.
Yes. Washington, D.C. is high, Philadelphia, and Massachusetts and Boston. Those were the key ones, and Chicago. Those are the key ones, and those, there were people representing most of those
So the
states.
light red. What is the light?
They're not as highly infected. They are infected. There are cases that have been reported, but in terms of the percentage to the population of those cities and/or states, it's not as high as the darker red, as you can see.
So this Virginia right here. Which one is Richmond? The dark.
The dark.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and there are organizations, agencies here, even for people who does not have insurance, but with the, I want to say Obamacare, because that's what it is nationally. But Virginia they have broken it down that we have the medical assistance where people who don't have insurance, we have a call.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
How you
Good
doing?
evening.
Good
I'm
evening.
enjoying the program. My question is for Deborah.
Yes.
Yes, I hear that is HIV and AIDS, are they two different diseases?
Yes, HIV is a virus that enters the bloodstream by way of sexual contact, the mother's milk, a mother giving milk who's already infected, or through intravenous needles, usually with people who are using drugs, illegal drugs, and they use needles, and they share the needles, and so they will leave just a residual amount of blood in the needle once they're injected. But if they're infected, the next person who uses the needle will also inject that blood into their bloodstream. So therefore, HIV, if it goes untreated and goes through the 7 stages of the life cycle of HIV, it becomes AIDS. And AIDS it really breaks down the immune system, and it allows opportunistic diseases to enter into our bodies. Now, what are opportunistic diseases? There are diseases that ordinarily our body could fight off, but because the CD4 count and the viral load are low, then therefore the disease is able to run rampant. There are a lot of drugs, and I'm glad you called, caller, and asked that question, because there are drugs that are prescribed if you're HIV positive that can prevent the virus from spreading. And I have to refer to Magic Johnson, because a lot of people say, and that's a myth, oh, he has money. Magic looks like the picture of health. He no longer is HIV positive. That's not true. He is still HIV positive, but because he takes his medication regularly, as with anyone who has any other type of illness, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, whatever, you have to be on a regular and consistent medication regimen. And because Magic takes his on a regular basis, his CD4 count is up and his viral load is really up. So does he still have HIV? Yes, he does. And depending on what stage you are diagnosed in HIV, the medications are prescribed and it will stop it right there. The reason why it's so hard for HIV to be cured and eradicated in black folks is because it gets into our genes. It becomes intertwined in our genetic structure. And the reason that is hard is once it's in our genes, then it's hard to get rid of. No, we can't cure it, but we can keep it down, okay? The other thing is with HIV, blacks, African Americans are genetically prone to have HIV more so than whites and Asians. Why? Because we have the receptors on the outside of our genes, the CCR4 and CCRX5. Black folks, all black folks have CCRX5. Most whites do not, or Caucasians, and most Asians do not. There are a few whites who does have the CCRX5 receptor outside of their genes. Those ones who do have it, and there's one man who was in the news, Mr. Brown, I want to say, and at one point the media has said that he was cured. Well, what it turned out was they didn't have a cure for HIV as much as he was cured because he had the bone marrow transplant. And so they eradicated it out of his blood system. And because he did not have the CCRX5 receptor, then it couldn't come back. But that's not so with us. So now research is really trying to find a system or a regimen that not only will keep the viral load and the viral load and the CD4 count up high, but also a cure. And from the classes that I've taken, they anticipate that we are on the horizon of a cure. So in the meantime, where does that leave us though? It leaves us with people who have not been tested, who are infected and does not know they're infected, and therefore are infecting other people. It leaves us with people who is not aware of the medication options, and so therefore it can bloom or blossom. It being HIV can blossom into the AIDS virus. And that's where our struggle is. Our struggle is for education. Our struggle is for prevention. Our struggle is in intervention. The CDC just put out a proposal, and the deadline was yesterday, for agencies to set up intervention and prevention for young people, and mainly men who have sex with men. That's the highest population where the HIV and AIDS virus is. Of course, it is in women, it's in adolescents, and it's in our senior citizens, but especially with that group. And we have another caller. I thank you for calling.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. They hung up. Well, please call back. As you can see, I get a little carried away when I'm talking about it.
You made an interesting point. I want to raise. You made an interesting point when you was talking about the different races, as far as being, I want to ask a question. Do you think that this disease is manufactured?
I knew you was going to say that. Go ahead and answer the call and let's see
Hello?
what they say.
Yes, my call is for Mr. Wendell Moss.
How you doing?
I'm fine. I was calling to find out what steps did you take to create your book, and was it hard?
Well, you can. Most writers get writer's block. That's part of the most difficult task. And when you're writing, you might catch writer's block. But if a person actually have a story in his head, you actually can go by chapter by outlining different things that you want to magnify in that particular chapter, and then you can go from outline chapter by chapter like that, and then you always want to be as descriptive as possible when you describing far as the scenery, and the individual that the characters in the book. You want to actually bring life to the particular characters that you describing in your book. You want to give each character their own personality. So when people are reading, they actually can visualize who's talking at this particular time. Even if it's a person with an accent, or a person with a heavy voice, a deep or scratchy voice, or that particular person. So it paints a picture that a person actually can visualize when they're reading your book.
Okay. So is there any difference between writing a novel and writing poetry?
Well, poetry, I've never experienced writing poetry, but Miss Deborah probably can tell you.
Yes, and I've never written a novel, but my experience in writing poetry is I have to have a feel for what it is I'm writing. For instance, when I write for people or family members who have died, and I know the person, so I have a feel for them, what they were about, what they were striving to do, what was important to them, and the Holy Spirit just gives it to me, and then I like poetry that rhymes. I was just bored of poetry, and all poetry does not have to rhyme, as you know, but I like poetry that rhymes, and so what I will do is play with the words and the overall theme to get it to fall in a rhyming, poetic form and format.
Okay, thanks, Miss Deborah. Mr. Wendell, I got another question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
When is the next time you're going to have another fashion show?
The fashion show, the next annual fashion show will be June 7th. And we will start doing model calls around April. And probably, you'll start seeing flyers around May and April in that area right there. Start seeing flyers in your local salons and your different restaurants that carry flyers and stuff like that. And on your social media also.
Okay, well, that's all the questions that I have.
Are you an aspiring model?
I'm looking forward to seeing you on the show again.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Yeah, you have a fan. Yeah, you gathered yourself a fan.
So back to the question that I asked.
Okay.
Do you actually think that this drug there's not the drugs, disease was manufactured?
No, and I had heard all of that prior to working with this population of people, but once I got into the classrooms and the research arena and in the labs, I learned the disease actually, it does originate from Africa, okay, and it does originate from monkeys, the chimpanzee species. However, in sub-Saharan parts of Africa, bush meat or chimpanzee meat is a delicacy. And so in the restaurants, and it's very expensive. And so in the restaurants, think about it for those of you listening, when you're cleaning, you're cutting up chicken, you're cleaning chickens, or when you're cutting up meat to cook for your family. I don't put gloves on, okay? I stick my hand up in the chicken and pull out, the innards. And so before it was known that these chimpanzees had a form of HIV, Um, the butchers, of course, would chop them up, and if they could have a lesion on their hand or some open cut, and the blood from the chimpanzee got into the open cut and therefore infected the butchers. Butchers went home, therefore had made love, and it began to spread from there. Okay, it's called the primate species, and that's how it originated. Now, I was told before I really knew anything about it that it did come from Africa, and it was because a man had sex with a monkey.
Wow.
Okay, so that is a total myth. And then I also had heard that it was a conspiracy to kill off black folks because it seemed to always be more effective and prevalent in the black culture. Well, of course, that's not true due to what I just explained about us being genetically inclined.
Hello, caller. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for taking my call. I have a question I'd like to ask. Yes.
Yes.
I've seen, and you can search on the internet if you want, that Congress asked the Army in 1968, could they develop a disease to break down your immune system? And the Army said, yes, we can. And they asked them, could they make an antidote? And they said, yes, we can. And it's bill number 10590. And you can look on the internet if you want. How do you know, has the guest heard about this?
I'm familiar with it.
You are?
A while back. I heard something about. I don't know if you familiar with it.
No,
or
I'm not.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
No, I'm not.
It was under population control. Oh, caller gone.
Hello?
Yeah, he's
there.
gone. Yeah.
Okay. No, I had not heard of it, Mr. Caller. The two that they taught us about was actually three, was the Guatemala experience and the Tuskegee experience, where they actually had black soldiers who had gone off to war, I believe it's in France, and had come back and had contracted syphilis. And they, being the medical doctors or the Army, was telling them that they were treating them for the syphilis, and at the same time they were using them as studies.
Exactly.
To see how long they could live with it, how many people would become infected with it, if their offsprings would have it. It was sad. They were used as guinea pigs. And when the president found out about it, then he in turn issued, I want to say $3 million to award to families, which there were so many people infected, it boiled down to maybe $250. The time is getting close. We have to close. I really enjoyed you.
I really enjoyed your company.
Oh,
very insightful information.
Thank you.
Very insightful.
With this, you say it's in Creighton Court. I just want to invite people who live near the area of Creighton Court to come out this Sunday morning to New Life Faith Center, which is in the East Lawn Shopping Center right at 9 Mile and Creighton Road. My pastors, Pastor Martin and Teresa Owens, have invited the Richardson Evangelistic Team to come out. And it's from 8:30 to 10:30. It's early Sunday morning, but I promise you, we believe in worshiping God the Bible way. So come on out and join us with it. Amen.
Amen.
being in. Are you in? Or can you sit right here? Okay.
Hey, I'm back. Hi, I'm back. I'm Felicia Harding Williams, your original host, and these are my two friends, Mr. Wendell Moss and Miss Deborah, and I hope y'all have enjoyed them this afternoon as much as I had. I have enjoyed them. I thank y'all for coming. I would like to give Wendell's friend, Shayla, what's her name, Wendell? Kayla. Kayla is out there, and actually, while talking to Kayla is a person that also suffers with bipolar, and she's very nice and stuff. And see how beautiful she is.
Yes, she is.
Hey, how y'all doing?
And so thank you again. Join us next week as we come back and with the lounge. Y'all have a blessed day.